Is it visible?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Okay. I will draw that diagram here and explain using this Jamboard, right? So this is the cross section of the earth dam. As I said that Laplace equations give two sets of curves. One is equipotential line and another one is the streamlines, right? See, this is the embankment and this is the, let us say this is the horizontal filter, right? And your top streamline will be like this. Okay, this is the one streamline and this is the another streamline, right? And this is the another streamline like that. So this is the another streamline, right? So these are the streamlines, right? You can say these are the streamlines, right? And equipotential, as I said, equipotential line and streamlines are perpendicular to each other. So this is one equipotential line, this is another equipotential line, and this is another equipotential line, and this is another equipotential line, and this is another equipotential line, like that, right? So this is equipotential lines, right? Okay, this is the streamline and this is the equipotential line. Okay, what I am doing is computation of rate of seepage from flow net. Computation of seepage, rate of seepage from flow net. If you have the cross section of the dam, I think you might have studied this in BTech finally. Hello, hello, hello.
Sir.
ఇది చదివారు మీరు?
Yes, sir.
So you can easily understand, right? If you have any questions, you can ask me at any time, right?
Okay.
Shall I go fast? Okay, anyway. So what I am trying to do is, how do you compute the rate of seepage from flow net? Okay, so once you know the cross section of the dam, you can draw this flow net, all right? And I will draw it separately. Say, for example, these are the equipotential lines. Same thing I'm drawing here, right? And these are the, let us say, streamlines. Okay. So here, this is the discharge. See, this is the portion between any two successive flow lines is called flow channel. So this is flow channel. This is one flow channel, and this is another flow channel. This is another flow channel. So the seepage will move through these flow channels. This is one flow channel. This is another flow channel. This is another flow channel, and this is another flow channel. Okay. Let us say this is delta Q. Okay, and similarly this is also delta Q. Okay, so the discharge passing through this flow channel only, right? So flow channel means the portion between two successive flow lines is called flow channel. Okay, the portion enclosed between two successive equipotential lines and successive flow lines is known as field. So this is called field. Okay, this is called field. The portion between two successive streamlines, right, and two successive equipotential line called streamlines. Field. Okay, so the width of this field, let us say B. Okay, and length of this field, let us say uh, let's say, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So if you have one piezometer here, right, and another piezometer here, right? So the mercury level difference, the difference I have had between these two these two equipotential lines. Okay. So what it indicates, if you insert a piezometer here, it will give the head. Okay. It will give the head of this equipotential line. Similarly, if you insert another piezometer here, it will give the head of another. Give the head of this equipotential line. So obviously, the flow takes place from here to here. So the head of this is more than this one. So the head difference between these equipotential line, let us say delta H. Delta H. Okay, delta H, right? So what B is the width of the field, and L is the length of the field, and delta H is the head drop between this equipotential line. Okay, there is a drop of head, delta H. So here, so this is the head, and for this line, this is head. So how much is a drop? So the difference in the three levels, that is delta H. Okay, so delta Q is that is a space passing through one flow field, right? So one field. According to Darcy's law, so Darcy's law, you know what is Darcy's law? Q is equal to K. What is Darcy's law? Q is equal to K. KIA. K is coefficient of permeability, I is a hydraulic gradient, and A is cross section of the area. So in this case, how you can write? So delta Q, so that is the distance passing through one flow channel. So in our case, delta Q is equal to, let us say this is K, right? And what is I? I is what? Hydraulic gradient, right? Delta H by L, right? Delta H by, okay, delta H by L, right? Into A. What is A? A is the cross section. So if you consider, yeah, B into, if you take unit width, B into 1, okay? So this is B into 1, okay? So this is the flow takes place through one flow channel, right? So let us say ND is the total number of potential drops. So in our case, this is 1, 2, 3. If there is another equipotential, if we have here, there is another 4. Okay, so that is a number of potential drops. Is that delta? So what is the total head causing flow? Say, let us say if you this is the depth of water in the dam is let us say H, right? So the depth of water on the upstream side, I mean a reservoir, is H. Okay, so what is delta H? Delta H can be written as so total head, that is the divided by number of potential drops, isn't it? Number of potential drops. ND is the potential drops. In our case, so what is the, how many potential drops? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and 6, right? So H by 6 gives the head drop in each field. Okay, so generally we draw in such a way that so this is uniform. Okay, potential drops and flow lines are uniform. Okay, got my point? Delta H is equal to H by ND. Hello?
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay, right. So therefore, if you substitute to delta H, so here, okay, so this will become K into H by ND into B by L into B by L. Okay, so hence the total discharge. So this is what this is the discharge taking place through one flow channel. So if you want to see pace through the entire body of this, okay, then what you have to do? So here in this case, we have 3 flow channels. So this is delta Q into 3. Okay. So what is the total discharge can be written as? Total discharge can be written as, okay, you can write sigma delta Q, isn't it? Sigma, you can sum of all. So this delta Q plus this delta Q plus this delta Q. Okay. So here, if NF is the number of flow channels, if NF is the number of flow channels, in our case is 3. So just multiply this 3 into delta Q, isn't it? If NF is the number of flow channels, then total discharge, if this is the total discharge is equal to K into H by ND into B by L into NF. Is it okay? Right? So this can be written as K into NF by ND into B by L. Okay. So B by L, right? So what is NF? NF is the number of flow channels. ND is the number of potential drops. So B is what? Width of the field, and L is the length of the field. So generally we draw in a such way that it should be a square. B is equal to L. So therefore it get cancelled. So this will become 1. So therefore Q is equal to K into NF by ND. So discharge passing through any earthen dam, it can be calculated as per the graphical method, K into NF by ND. So K is NF number of potential, K is number of flow channels, ND, K is coefficient of permeability, NF is potential, number of flow channels, ND is potential drops. Okay. So the discharge pass, so this is the formula. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So this is for isotropic embankment. Isotropic embankment is the property of the soil in all directions are equal, right? So that's why we have taken K as coefficient of permeability in X, Y, Z direction. In all directions, the coefficient of permeability is the same because same material is used, right? If it is an anisotropic soil, the K is different. K is Kx is not equal to Ky is not equal to Kz. Okay. So for anisotropic soil, so this equation can be modified. So we have to take the average coefficient of permeability. So therefore, Q can be written as square root of Kx, coefficient of permeability in X direction, right? And Ky, coefficient of permeability in Y direction, and H is the head causing flow, and NF by ND. NF by ND. All right. So this is the equation for anisotropic soil. Right. Sorry, in the previous case in isotropics, I said that K into NF by ND. H is there. H is also there. And KH into NF by ND is the discharge. Seep is passing through the body of the dam. In case of isotropic soil, Q is equal to KH into NF by ND. In case of anisotropic soil, Q is equal to square root of KX, KY, H into H into NF by ND. Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Right. So this is how we can calculate the seepage using FlowNet, right? So Now, to draw this line, flow nets, equipotential line, so we should know the boundary conditions, right? So this is the one boundary conditions that is known to you, okay, because cross section is given to you. This is another boundary condition that is also you know, but this boundary condition we don't know. What is the top flow line? Okay, we don't know. So once you know this boundary, top flow line, then only you can draw the equipotential line. So therefore, it is very essential first to determine the top flow line. Okay, so otherwise you cannot draw the flow net. Okay, unless you know flow line, you cannot draw. Unless you don't know flow, you know flow line, you cannot draw. Okay, so therefore first we should top flow line. If you don't know the top flow line, you cannot draw the flow net. So therefore, it is very essential to draw the first top flow line. So to draw the flow net. So not only to draw the flow net. So this is the wet portion. What does it mean? That if it is the flow, is means flow taking place through this. Okay. So these are the dry portion, and this is the wet portion. So for stability analysis, for calculating the stability analysis of earth and dam. So for this one, we assumed it is a not. So for this area, we use dry density of the soil. For this area, we use saturated density of the soil for while doing the stability analysis. So therefore, so it is very important to draw the top flow line. Okay, so that top flow line is also called phreatic line in the earth depth. Okay, I think so that we can. This is called line of seepage or phreatic line. The top flow line is called line of seepage or a phreatic line, or you can say saturation line also. Okay, so it is defined as the line within the dam section between which there are positive hydrostatic pressure in the dam. So the hydrostatic pressure and the phreatic line is equal to the atmospheric pressure, and therefore it is equal to 0. Okay. Above the phreatic line, there is a zone of capillary saturation or capillary fringe in which the hydrostatic pressure are negative. Okay, so the pressure below the phreatic line is positive. On the phreatic line, the pressure is 0, that is atmospheric pressure, and above the phreatic line, the pressure is negative. Hydrostatic pressure is negative. Okay, so the appreciable flow through the dam body below the phreatic line reduce the effective weight of the soil. So, and thus reduce the shear strength of the soil due to pore pressure. So as I said, the portion below the free is completely saturated. Saturated in the sense, what does that mean? That all the voids are filled with water. So therefore, it reduce the shear strength of the soil. Okay, so the pores are filled with water. So therefore, it reduces the effective weight of the soil, and obviously it reduces the shear strength of the soil because due to the pore pressure is more in that case if it is saturated. Okay, so it is therefore absolutely essential to determine the portion of the phreatic line as it passes as the position will enable us to determine the following things. As I said, it gives a dividing line between the dry and submerged soil. Okay, so top one is dry and the below is the submerged. Okay, so the soil above the seepage line within will be dry, and the below is submerged. Okay, and it represents the top stream line, and it helps use in drawing the flow net. Okay, So once you draw the flow, seepage line or phreatic line or saturated line, and then it is very easy to construct a flow net. Okay, once you construct the flow net, then you can calculate the seepage. Okay, the seepage line determines help us to uh, ensure that it does not cut the downstream phase of the dam. Okay, so this is extremely necessary for preventing slugging of the dam. Okay, so there are three benefits of constructing a flow net. Okay, the first benefit is for calculation of stability analysis. Okay, we take unit weight of the soil. Okay, the portion above the phreatic line we take as a dry unit weight, and the portion below one is saturated weight. That is the first point. And second point is for drawing a flow net, one should know the top line. Okay, that is a seepage line. Okay. So once you construct the phreatic line, then it is construct the flow net. So that is the second advantage. And the third advantage is this seepage line, phreatic line. If you draw the phreatic line, okay, so they can if it cuts the downstream phase, it means there is a danger of slugging. Okay, as you know, it should not cut the downstream phase. The phreatic line should pass through the filter. Okay, if it is a filter, so it is safe. If it cuts the downstream phase, means there is a saturated phase is there. Okay, so therefore there may be a slugging may takes place on the downstream of the dam. Okay, so these are the three advantage for determining the phreatic line. Okay, how do you determine the phreatic line? There is a procedure for this one. A graphical method is there. Okay, given by Casagrande. So this is the dam section, right? This is the dam section. So just I am telling you how to draw the line. Okay, so phreatic line, it is a base parabola. Okay, it is a base parabola with at F. So the start point. So just I will imagine. So everything is there. Don't get confused. I will explain you to draw the. Okay. You check my internet connection or your internet connection, right? Okay. For others, same problem with others also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. See, this is the dam, right? Cross section of the dam. This is the filter. Okay. So the starting point of the filter is F. Okay. Right. So as a Casagrande, the phreatic line is parabola. Okay. So the focus of this parabola is the starting point of the filter. That is the assumption, right? So this is the parabola. Okay. So this is the focus. The focus of the parabola is F. That is the starting point of the filter, right? So how to draw the phreatic line, right? So I will explain. So this is the H is the depth of the water on the upstream side. Okay. So the starting point of the parabola is C. The starting point of the parabola is C. So C, how do you get C from B? So that you can at a distance of 0.3 L. Okay. What is the L? L is the horizontal projection of the upstream water surface. Okay. Horizontal projection of AB. Upstream water surface is AB, right? Horizontal projection of AB is L. Okay. So L into 0.3 from B, you can locate this point C. Okay. So this is starting point of, right? So here you draw a horizontal line. Okay. This is the water surface. So you draw a horizontal line, right? So as I said, what is the focus of the parabola? Focus is F. So therefore, CF as the radius, CF as the radius, and C as the center. Draw an arc like this. Okay, draw an arc. Okay, so this arc cuts this horizontal line at D. Okay, at D. So at D, draw a tangential line. Okay, straight line. So that is called directrix. That is called directrix. Okay. So it will cut the filter at H, right? We know F. Now we have located the H. Okay. So G is the midpoint of F and H. G is the midpoint of F and H. Okay. So this is the end point of the parabola. So C is the starting point of the parabola and G is the end point of the parabola. Now we have to locate the points in between these C and G. We have to locate the points in between C and G. How do you locate? You know the property of the parabola. So any point on the parabola is equidistant from the focus as well as from the directrix. This is the property of the parabola. Okay. What is the property of the parabola? So say, let us say this is the one point. Okay. So this PF is equal to this distance. P nunchi ee directrix. Okay. We take another point here. Let us say this is another point. So from this point to F, this distance is equal to this distance. Okay. So that is the property of the parabola. Okay. Based on that property, we will locate the intermediate points. So first we have identified the C point, that is the starting point of the parabola. And then we have identified the last point. So that is the midpoint of F and H, G. So we will identify, we will locate based on the one of the property of the parabola. So that is from the point, the distance between that point to focus is equal to the distance between that point to the directrix, right? Say, let us say, I want to, how do you identify the intermediate points? Let us say I take some X value here. Okay. And that draw a vertical line and draw a vertical line, right? Draw a vertical line, right? So I know what is the property. So it is equidistant from directrix as well as focus. Okay. So therefore, this point, the distance between this point to directrix is what? This is X. Okay. And this is S. That is S is what? What is S? S is called focal distance. So this, okay. So therefore, S plus X as the radius, F as the center, you draw an arc, which will cut this horizontal, this straight line, vertical line, somewhere in here. Okay, that is P, let's say. So that is one point, right? Similarly, take another X1 value, okay, and draw a vertical line. Okay, now X1 plus S as the radius, F as the center, and draw an arc, which will cut another point. Okay, that is another intermediate point. So like this, you can get several intermediate points and simply join all those points. So that is called top CPS line or Freat line. Got my point? Okay, but there is a small correction. At the starting point. Okay, so this is that you have to do using with your hand sketch. Okay, so as I said, this AB is a equipotential line. Okay, AB is a equipotential line. So therefore this streamline is what? This is called top C line is what? This is called streamline. So therefore this streamline should cut the equipotential line I'm joining the equipotential line orthogonally, okay, at 90 degrees. So therefore, instead of C is joined to B such a way that the angle is 90 degrees. The small correction you have to make at this, okay, here. So this is the top phreatic line, okay. Is it clear? Any question on this one? Right. Ask if you have any question, no doubt. Point P, right? The equation for this parabola, right? So as I said, the one of the property of the parabola is so it has the distance from the focus is equal to the distance from the bad directories. Okay. So what is PF in this case? So this is, let us say, X and this is Y. So PF is equal to square root of X square plus Y square. Okay. Square root of X square plus Y square is equal to this distance. So that is equal to X plus S, isn't it? Okay. So that is PF is equal to QH. Square root of X square plus Y square is equal to X plus S. Okay. So S is focal distance, right? So from this get an equation. So that is Y square is equal to 2XS plus X square. Okay. This is the equation of the base parabola. Okay. So how you can determine the C-phase discharge? Okay. Q per unit width of the dam. Let us say for this one, so I want to calculate the C-phase taking place through this phase, right? So for this phase, what is the cross section area? So this Y into unit width of the dam, Y into 1, okay? As per the Darcy's law. So that is Q is equal to KIA. So I can be written as the dy by dx. Okay. What is the saturated cross section? Depth is Y, 1 is the unit width, right? So we know the equation for parabola, y is equal to y square is equal to 2xs plus s square, or y is equal to square root of 2xs plus s square. Okay. So dy by dx is equal to s by 2xs plus x square. Okay. Substitute this here. Okay. And you will get the q is equal to, so this is, and this get cancelled, q is equal to ks, right? So the discharge is equal to coefficient of permeability into focal distance. Okay, got my point? So this is a very simple equation. Q is equal to K S. Okay. So the distance S can either be determined graphically or can be calculated analytically by considering coordination of the point C as follows. Okay. Once you draw the flow, the top C phase line, you can just measure, take scale and find out what is the S distance, right? So that S into coefficient of permeability discharge, right? Otherwise also we can calculate S using like this. Analytically also you can calculate the S. Okay. S is equal to the square root of square plus y square plus x. So at point C, x is equal to d and y is equal to h. Okay. So at point, this is the, let us say, y, and this is the x. Okay. So x is equal to d, y is equal to h. Okay. And you substitute that point, then x is equal to d is equal to h. Okay, substitute this one and you will get the S value also. Okay, right? So this is for when filter is there. This is the procedure how to draw a phreatic line, right? And another one case is the when there is no horizontal filter. Okay, when is the no horizontal filter, right? When is no horizontal filter, procedure is same, but the focus is the uh, toe is the focus. The toe is the focus. So earlier case, focus is starting point of the horizontal filter. Okay, in this case, toe is the focus. Everything is same. First locate the C. Well, how do you locate the C? So from B, it is 0.3 L. What is L? L is the horizontal projection of wet face of the upstream side, right? So this is the starting point. So CF as the radius, C as the center, draw an arc, okay, which will cut this horizontal line somewhere. And now there, that is a point, at that point, draw a tangential line. So that is called directrix, okay. The G is the center of the F and this directrix. So this is the end point. So in this case, the G falls away from the F, okay. So this is the starting point and this is the G end point. So you can locate the intermediate point, okay, and draw a line. So that is the parabola. So that is seepage line or phreatic line. Okay. So as I said, the here do some small correction, right? So therefore, this phreatic line in this case B I J G. Okay.